One essential tool to have when you are cutting out your fabric and your patterns are pattern weights. Today, I'm gonna go over 3 different DIY pattern weights that you can create at home. Not only are they super cool and unique, they cost less than the standard industrial pattern weight. Can you believe it? These industrial pattern weights cost $30 plus, and that can really add up when you need to buy a bunch of them. We're gonna start with the easiest DIY weight first. What is it? It's pennies, believe it or not. $4 of pennies will give you 2.5 pounds roughly. So grab a coin purse and fill it with about 2.5 pounds of pennies. If you don't have a zipper pouch, you can grab one from the store for pretty inexpensive, or you can make your own out of some scrap fabric and a zipper, which I know you probably have laying around. And if you need some help creating it, make sure you check out my video on how to create a zipper pouch. So let's put $4 of pennies in and weigh it up. Let's fill this bag up. All done. Feels pretty heavy to me. Let's see how much it weighs. So it's right around 2 pounds and 6 ounces. This is definitely heavy enough to hold down a pattern, but if you want it to be heavier, you can totally just add more pennies, just like that. If you wanted your weight to be heavier, you could make a bigger bag, you could make a drawstring bag. You have different options for how you could house your pennies to make them into weights. Another easy, cost-effective way to make some pattern weights are washers. Look at how big these washers are. They are wildly huge, right? And I got these off of Amazon. So we create these weights. We're going to glue the washers together. We're going to create a handle and we're going to wrap it in some bias binding. What I really like about these weights is that I've put a little handle on them so that way we can just pick it up and place it down where we need it. So you're not trying to grasp it from the side, possibly moving your fabric or your pattern. To make these, you're going to need some washers, some bias tape, your scissors, and a glue gun. You could also just cut strips of fabric for this, but the bias binding is great because it's cut on the bias, so it's going to wrap around that curve real nice. Also, these washers come in so many different sizes, but I went for the real big ones because I want a sturdy weight. So I have some hot glue here, and we are going to glue all 3 of these washers together. You want to do this process fairly fast so that way the glue does not dry on you before you get it connected. There we go, all glued together. Next, what we need to do is tie on our little handle. So now we're going to tie the bias binding, or you could use ribbon, onto one side of the washers here. Make a nice strong knot. Feel free to make a few knots if you like. And now we're going to take the binding, go over to the other side. You can make your handle as long as you would like. And now I'm going to tie another sturdy knot. I'm going to knot it twice. And then I'm going to cut off the extra, leaving just a little bit, a little flare there. Okay, so now we have the handle on our weights. And when you position this handle, try to center it. So when you pick it up, it's nice and flat and not tipping to one side. So if you need to adjust the position of where the handles are, do that now before you start wrapping. And when you have them where you want them, just grab a little hot glue, shove it in there so that way they stay in place. Just be careful not to burn yourself. So right now, you could literally leave it just like this with the handles on it, with them all glued together, but I think it'd be super fun if we wrapped it in this rainbow bias tape. So let's wrap it in some binding and then weigh it. If you're going to be wrapping yours, start out with some hot glue on the top. Get that first piece of binding in the right spot where you'd like it. And then we're just gonna wrap it all the way around the washer. So I'm going to unroll some binding from my roll here. I can always add another piece, but let's start with about that much. And now we wrap. And to make sure this stays nice and secure, I'm going to stop and glue every once in a while. I'm going to cut this down a little bit. We are going to put a dab of glue here to secure it in the middle, and then I'm going to fold in the end and glue that end down as well. So now I'm going to trim that straight. Now I'm going to fold this end in, and let's put another speck of glue there. Push it down, let it dry, and there we go. We have got one super cool weight. Okay, let's see how much this one weighs. Looks like this one is about 1 pound and 11 ounces. How cool does this pattern weight look? And it's a pretty good weight as well. This DIY idea is super cool because you could totally stack more of them, make your weight heavier, and you can totally change the look of them just by choosing the fabric that you wrap around the edge of it. It makes it completely different looking. Next, we're going to talk about my favorite DIY weight, and they are vintage irons. That's right. People used to iron their clothes with these. Can you even believe it? Irons have come such a long way. People used to heat these up in either a fire or a stove. Pretty crazy, huh? The first thing you gotta do is find these, and it can be a little bit tricky. You're gonna have to hit up some vintage stores, some antique stores, some estate sales, and when you get lucky enough, you find one and you buy it. But that doesn't seem like a lot of work to me because I love going to those things. There's actually a ton of estate sales and antique stores up in Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up, and my mom and dad found these ones for me. Thanks, Mom and Dad! So if you find one of these and it's all rusted up, I'm gonna explain to you exactly what you need to do to make it pattern weight ready. The first thing you're gonna need to do is get some rust away so that way you can let these soak in there so that way the rust comes off. And after they've been soaking for a while, maybe a day or so, you're gonna wanna take them out, use a wire brush and brush them like crazy and clean them up. And then you might wanna get your Dremel tool out and clean up all of these grooves and edges on the iron. And then after that, give it a little bath, heat it in the oven so that way it dries out, and then you're gonna wanna spray it with a clear coat. I used a clear lacquer for these. And then when you're done with that, you're gonna wanna get some peel and stick velvet so that way you can put it on the bottom of them. So that way if they drag along your paper, it's not gonna leave any marks. And then you're done. And you'll have something super cool from the history of sewing, and you'll be using it every day. I just love these. They are so cool. Can you believe they're over 100 years old? These are actually going to be the heaviest thing that I'm talking about today, so let's weigh them and see what they weigh. So this one here is around 7 pounds, and if we take a look at the handle, it actually says 7. You can usually find them around $10, and that is still less expensive than the industrial pattern weight. Speaking of, let's weigh it and see what it weighs. And this weight is about 3 pounds and 7 ounces for the industrial pattern weight. So if you're looking for some heavy pattern weights, you really want to find these vintage irons. And you know what's really fun while you're out antiquing? These cast iron animals also make great pattern weights as well. Look at how cute they are. I've got a flying pig and a cat. So let's weigh the pig. He's about 3 pounds and 6 ounces. That means this pig weighs about the same amount as my industrial pattern weight. I hope you enjoyed learning about DIY pattern weights today. If you have any questions about any of the ones I showed you, leave it down below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I would love to know, what do you use for pattern weights around the house when you're sewing? Thanks so much for watching Sewing Anastasia today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, give it some applause, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what video you want to see next. And if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when those new videos come out. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today. These videos are for you guys. And if you don't already follow me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the social media, make sure you do so that way we can stay connected and creative together. And if you're in Chicago, come on into the design studio and take a sewing class with me. And if you're not, that's okay. Check out the Sewing Anastasia SewingAcademy.com. We now have online courses. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.